Council members and Mayor. My name is Deborah Marks. I come before Council tonight with a suggestion and with a question. Up and down the peninsula, one hears outcries from residents about the increase in high-density residential and in commercial development. The buildings are characterized as unfriendly and overwhelming. The term stack and pack has been coined for the high-density living units. Last month, an article appeared in the Palo Alto Daily News regarding the narrow sidewalks with the in-your-face development creating urban canyons. In the Mountain View Voice, a resident asked why the council was favoring the wishes of the out-of-town developers over those of the residents. The City of Palo Alto held a public meeting on July 31st. The Architectural Review Board and the Planning and Transportation Commission discussed sidewalk widths and building designs specifically on El Camino. Suggestions were made, for example, widening the sidewalks from 12 to 18 feet, getting a more robust canopy, and making the street a focal point of the community. The vision of a grand boulevard was suggested, and members will be looking to other cities for examples. And the Palo Alto Daily is asking readers also for their input. My suggestion is for Sunnyvale to be proactive and create its own guidelines for El Camino. Proposals have been made by different agencies and initiatives for a grand boulevard in the last few years, but nothing has been binding. We could also work together with other cities to unify the look of El Camino. The beginnings of urban canyons in our city are noticeable. This was taken on Washington, and you can see many of the buildings are now 6 stories, and it is getting the feeling of a canyon. And this picture is on Capella at the corner of Francis, and the building on the left is going to be about 6 stories high also. We have a second grand boulevard also, one could say, in Sunnyvale, and that's Matilda Avenue. Much more will be built there in the near future. At 455 to 481, at 615 North Matilda, 666 and 767 North. Many residents came to the last council meeting to complain about the massive new LinkedIn building at Maud and Matilda. It does look, let's see here. And this is the view of the building linked in from the Pine Avenue Street. People came from Pine Avenue to complain about it, and it does look like a black wall that's in my backyard. This is also another picture of it. In Sunnyvale, we need to take a look at and redefine the guidelines as to the width and design of the sidewalks and the heights and massiveness of the buildings, and then stick to these guidelines. And my question is, when will the urban forest management plan come before the council?
Okay.
I'm asking the city manager.
We responded to that recently to the council member.
Yeah.
What they need is.
I think we said in early spring. We did an update for the council a couple weeks ago in the biweekly report.
Okay.
I'll get you a copy of that. I'll get that.
Okay, thank you.
We have a question from the council member.
I have a question for Mr. Lubers concerning that property at Matilda and Maud. There were a couple of pictures were shown of from Pine Avenue. So you recommended that the council approve that, and the majority in the council agreed. And the document you signed indicated that there was not going to be any visual impacts to the neighborhood, the residential neighborhood. And I was wondering how that conclusion was arrived at.
It's been months since I read that document.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to make a comment. So that conclusion was arrived at by council, and I'm responsible for that decision.
Okay.
It was not the staff's doing it. Within council's control to make those decisions, and that's where the responsibility resides.
Okay, thank you.
Clarify the answer to that question.
Okay.
So I'd still like to, you signed the document indicating that there wasn't going to be any visual impact, so if you can identify how that conclusion was arrived at, we'd all appreciate that. Thanks.
Okay. Chat, Mayor, please.